Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Today's video is on birth time rectification. Some more we did a few videos on simple methods. This is based upon divisional longitude, divisional charts, the lagna in the divisionals. So the Excel that you see here took me some time. Before I start on this, I would like to thank Sri Krishna Dasari ji, who is also a subscriber to this channel, who lives in New Zealand, for his expertise. I cannot thank him enough because he lent his support in arranging this Excel file data in such a some aesthetically pleasing manner. Of course, he would have done it much more better, but I insisted on certain colors, so it has come out this way beautifully. So I should thank him definitely for his giving his whole new level of professionalism and expertise. I have been taking his help repeatedly on many occasions. So he is very kind-hearted to lend his support to these attempts that I make. Thank you, Krishna ji. With this, I start on this. So the idea here is, so we have all the divisions. See, we have the Rashi chart, we have the multiple divisional charts, and more or less I have stuck to divisions that work, that P.V. Narasimha Rao says he employs in his videos, but he uses the Pushya Paksha Ainamsha. I have used here the true Chitra Paksha Ainamsha choice is given here. You can choose your Ainamsha number here. There is a sheet on Ainamsha. 27 is true Chitra Ainamsha. So the user gives the name of the person, the date of birth, time of birth, time zone and all that, latitude, longitude, and also the Ainamsha number. For Ainamsha number, as I said, you go here and give. The idea here is to arrive at a birth time rectification based upon events as well as based upon, essentially, suppose if you know, the helpful for the birth time rectification are the physical characteristics, what notable physical characteristics are there of the person, what is his educational status, if there had been any breaks in his education or commencement of the first job. If we have data for all these multiple things events I have put here, then it would be helpful for us to correct the birth time. And some of the rules also that I came across I have put here. The Pranapada is a very critical element for birth time rectification. And I have a calculator brought in the Pranapada, I call it PP here. So that division, in all those divisions, just like Jagannath Ora has said, we erect it now, even in Excel. This Pranapada, it has to be in trines to the D9 moon, so the Navamsha moon, or it can be just opposite to the Navamsha moon also. So the birth can take place only under such conditions is what I read. And similarly, Kunda, which is the D81 Lagna, it has to be in trines or seventh from the D1 Lagna itself. So these things we read. So these are something, and the Shashti 3 charts are very critical for fitting the birth time. I put those 3 at top here, the Rashi chart, the Navamsha chart, and the D60 chart. And D60 is a drive of the sun, and sun only brings the souls into our lives. So the people you meet, you suppose your son is born to you, your new soul is meeting you. Therefore, the birth time of the event of a son is to be reflected, will be reflected in D60 because D60 is the drive. It only brings the souls into our lives, and we have to see birth of a brother or anything. Then you let have it's a birth of a brother, the Karaka Bhava, the third Bhava in D60 would have some connections to the event. So the event means the Dasa, Bhukti, Antara and Sukshma during that time. So if you are getting married, then the seventh bhava in D60 would have a strong connection because you are getting a new person, new soul is meeting you. So everything in D60 is very important to you. If a child is born, Jupiter should have some sambandha to the fifth house in D60, things like that. So these would be helpful tips for birth time correction. So what I essentially do in this Excel is the user, once he gives here, suppose you give a particular date. Here I have taken up Narendra Modi ji's chart, our Prime Minister, with his date, and I have given some date time which I have been using. And suppose we are not sure about the time, we give some event. Here I have given the event when he was sworn in as for the second time as the Prime Minister. And then once you click here, it takes a while. It takes maybe 2-3 minutes, in fact. What it does is it will try out from the given time for increments of 1 minute. Finally, it has put at 0 here, but initially it is 1 minute. Maybe I can remove it. Every minute, 10:3, 10:4, 10:5, 10:6, each increment of 1 minute, it updates the Lagna in various divisions, the D1 chart, the D9 chart, and it automatically colors them. If you have another person, the coloring would be different because his transition times would be different. So that's the beauty of the conditional formatting that brings in here. Immediately you can catch various things here. Let us check how we use this table. Now in D1 there has been no change. Suppose our from 10:3 to 10:23 is what we guess the time of birth would be based on other inputs. Then for Narendra Modi ji's chart, Libra is the ascending Lagna. There is no change in that. So there is no requirement on any considerations on what is the Lagna and all that. So Lagna, since we are fixing this time range, the Lagna is not changing, so we leave it at that. Now coming to D9, are we content with Pisces or are we with Aries is a question that we can ask ourselves. Knowing Narendra Modi ji's style and whatever you can read from Navamsha, suppose you prefer the Aries, of course those things you need to know from astrological basis. Why would you prefer Aries over a sentimental, very emotional Pisces? So I would think Aries suits him. So that means we are in this slot time slot, and then we come to say other charts here. D10, for instance, this is the event. See, when he got elected to as the second time on 30th May 2019, the event Dasha Bhukti Antara Sukshma, what Dasha Bhukti Antara Sukshma Prana Dega he was running, his natal Vimshotri Dasha Bhukti Antara, at the time of the event is marked here. Therefore, he was running Moon, Mercury, Rahu, or perhaps that is at this time. If time of birth is this would have been the event Dasha Bhukti Antara Sukshma Prana Deha. But since we narrow down on say this Lagna, so I am giving the Dasha Bhukti Antara Sukshma Deha here. And if you check his D10 chart, because that is an upliftment, so I go to the D10 chart. Moon and Jupiter are very well combined here. The 9th Lord, Mars is combined here. So Lagna Lord and the 9th Lord are combined here. Do you prefer this in D10 Lagna, or would you prefer some other? So D10 Lagna is changing from Aries to Taurus. Would you prefer Taurus Lagna for him or Aries Lagna for him? I would prefer the Aries Lagna, because Taurus, okay, it is there, and there is a beautiful exchange of Saturn and Venus. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th house has got Sun, Moon, Mercury beautifully placed there. But given the nature of the event, I would think this Lagna suits better. The combination of the Lagna Lord with the 9th Lord, Jupiter in Lagna, giving him high self-respect and elevation in status. So if that were the cases, then Jupiter has played a role. So maybe just at the entrance of Jupiter, things would have happened. and even the Taura D10 Lagna is Aries possibly. So if Aries, then we are actually limited to these 2 time slots, because D10 is Aries and you have Jupiter there. After that Aries is in D10 is gone. If you come to D10, then it becomes Taurus later on. Therefore, these 2 time slots, does it make sense for him? Because how about D81? We have the rule here saying that the Pranapada has to be in trines of 7th to the D9 moon. Okay, if D9 moon is here, and it's already Pranapada is sitting here, but that is at a time of 10:03. Suppose we cast it at the time that we think 10:12 or 10:13, we have to check this rule. Similarly, Kunda is already given here. Pranapada is not listed here, but Kunda is listed here. Kunda is nothing but the D81 Lagna. D81 Lagna for this time slot is Taurus Gemini. So, and it has to be, as we see, Kunda has to be in trines of 7th from the D1 Lagna. So D1 Lagna is here. If it is to be trines, then it should be Gemini. So we narrow down further to this time slot more or less, because Gemini is here in Kunda. So for this time. So depending upon what other events, when he met his wife, maybe you can figure out that Aries Lagna suits him in D9. I mean, you'll have to have definitely ideas about his events in his life and in which division which would suit. So that's the beauty of this. I finally have arrived at say Gemini, this time slot 10:13 for him, based upon some of this, right? I mean, this could be wrong. Just this is basically an illustration of how to use this tool rather than fixing a time for Narendra Modi ji. That's not the goal here, but we might have to maybe validate many more events. So suppose you put on another event and want to generate this type of a plot for it. You put the date here, click again here, and then the plot would totally change, because especially these things would change, because these are the Vimshottari Dasha Bhuktis for the event. If this were the particular time of birth. So it aligns with this. So you can figure out why that particular Dasha Bhukti gave him such an elevation or not. In these divisional longitudes and Vimshottari Dasha is what we are using. But truly speaking, we should be using conditional Dashas for each of the divisions, which would be the best approach to take. But since more or less Vimshottari applies, we have been doing this. So this tool can be used in such a way. And all the plots of the various Rashis and all the divisions are given here. You can check where the Pranapada is and all that right from here. But this chart is based upon the time for which you are given here. So this time increment has no meaning now, because internally within the code I am incrementing by 1 minute. So your rest of the data you give, just click here. Have patience to wait for 2-3 minutes. It takes a while for it to totally arrange these things and recolor them. So then you can maybe copy paste multiple events in another sheet or something, and then work out your birth time correction for any of your individuals. So these things would also be helpful to you. What is the Dasha at birth and how does it relate to at the event? What is the Dasha Bhukti at the it takes a while, because we are going to Prana and Dega calculations also, which might not be required. Only till Sukshma is enough. But anyway, yeah, since just waiting 2-3 minutes should not harm you much. So I will put this file for download in the description. Try it out and see if it works and is helpful to you, this birth time rectification. And remember these rules, and in case you have some other rules, please do indicate in the comment section, and we can maybe modify this for the further levels. Thank you very much.